What's up, guys? Welcome back to a new episode of McDaniel Motorsports. Chris here, working on the Charger still. I had a nice long vacation over the weekend. Went out to Arizona to my buddy's house where the car was painted. I showed you guys that. We didn't paint anything, but we did do some electrical work, which is always cool. So back on the Charger, I am installing torsion bars right now, and from all the videos that I've seen, it all looks really easy for some reason, and I was having a hard time, like, why aren't these things going in? I was trying to clock the torsion bar or clock the lower control arm with the torsion bar because the one in the cross member is fixed, and for some reason I just couldn't get them like clocked. So I thought the shock was limiting the down travel, which would keep me from having to be able to clock them correctly. And it might have affected it somehow, but so I removed the shocks, and then I realized that I did kind of I guess I was planning ahead for the alignment, and I added basically the maximum amount of caster to the upper control arm, meaning this. So if you imagine I guess a line between the upper ball joint and the lower ball joint, and ideally for that nice, when you turn a corner and that nice, the steering wheel returns to center feel as you do it, and it's supposed to be automatic as the car rolls, the steering wheel will return to center easily. So it popped into my mind that I did this, and so I had the cam, this upper cam here, I had this basically to where the control arm was all the way in. So there's a cam lobe here and here, and these are adjusted, so it pulls this guy out or it pulls that guy in, and same thing in the front. So I basically, when I installed these upper control arms, I set this guy up to be all the way that way, and so I feel like that was kind of pulling on the lower control arm slightly, or maybe putting the torsion bar cup in a bind, and that was possibly why I couldn't get the torsion bar in easily. And I think it helps because I got it in the passenger side. So anyway, so I wanted to share this and how I'm doing it. Don't mind these rags, they're just to protect the powder coating here. So at first I put anti-seize in here thinking, you know, anti-seize makes the most sense to me because these torsion bars sit in here, they get water in them, dust and dirt and crap, and they basically become one over time. You know, it's going to be a long time. Obviously, this car is not going to sit outside very often. But so anti-seize to me seemed like the right move. Well, the manual says otherwise. It says put some high mileage, you know, grease. So I wiped the anti-seize off. I know this sounds all real trivial stuff, but I'm just trying to help. If anybody else is doing this, help them not waste their time and doing it the wrong way like me. So I put some synthetic grease on here. I've got my boot here because you gotta have that guy on before you put the torsion bar into the lower control arm. So, and you can see here, got some of that grease there too. So the grease is going to do the same thing just about as the anti-seize would, and there might be some lubricating qualities of it too, so who knows. So I got the other side in. I'm going to put this guy in now that I've got the grease on there, and I got my little dust boot. So but as you can see, my adjusters are fully out all the way, so there's basically no preload on that finger for the torsion bar adjuster. So that is where I'm at. So let me get set up here, and I'm going to put this other torsion bar in. Forgot to mention in the manual, the service manual actually says to remove the upper control arm bump stop. And I thought that was kind of interesting because that gives you more down travel, which allows the torsion bar to key in correctly. So let me grab a 9/16 real quick, and I'll get that lower, or the upper control arm bump stop off. So yeah, you can see how it travels down further now that that bump stop's removed, so that makes sense. All right, so that I could immediately feel like the torsion bar keyed in a lot easier now that that's done. So let's read the manual next time. It might go smoother. So. I got Richard putting on the emergency brake cables back here. He'll show a detail here in a few minutes of what he's done.
Yeah.
Every little piece coming together. We got the drums being painted out back. Just one piece at a time. Going in. Just some crud kind of stuck in here. Before these are side specific, so this one has an L on it, so I knew I was gonna be able to put the other one on the other side without having to worry about it. But front to back, I do not believe they are they don't have to be indexed front to back in any specific way. It's just left and right. I don't know how that works. Someone probably way smarter than me thought of that, and that's cool. Get this other side in. That's it. She doesn't inspire a lot of confidence, but I guess it's not. It's going to be under pressure, so the spring comes out. The torsion bar will not come out, so it's fine. Okay. I'm going to get in position to put the shocks back on and make some last minute alignment adjustments. It's gonna be a two-person job. Hey, can you give me a hand? So this guy right here goes in here. I'm gonna lift up on this because there's pressure now that torsion bars are in. So I'm gonna lift up on it and just you have to just feed that down in there. Okay. There we go. Thank you. So now, this isn't rocket science here, obviously. We're building a charger. However, I wanted to point something out with these QA1 shocks. These are really, really nice pieces. And we got the double adjustable, obviously, for, you know, infinite adjustability. But I wanted to show you guys this detail here. So, typically, with these guys, like, if you use these stem type shocks, in most applications, this little guy right here on the top of this bushing is the one that will basically go through the hole, right? So I know this isn't riveting stuff, but I just wanted to point this out. So in most cases you use the small one, but because the hole size in these chargers is rather large for this stem style, the backside actually works better. And I'm pretty sure that you can do either one of them, but in my mind this makes more sense when you have a bigger shoulder to capture on, and it basically it fits in there perfectly, like it will not fall off. So it's just one of those things where if you're not paying attention, you'll do it wrong. So I just wanted to point it out. Just be mindful that, you know, yes, it's bolting parts on, but these parts don't fall on. They have to be massaged and manipulated and put on correctly for it to actually have a good outcome. So anyway, that's the tip. Hopefully you guys gain something from that on your next shock install. As you guys know, I'm a freak when it comes to hardware. As you can see, the bolt is in forward to backwards, just because that's what we do. Got our grill shell in. Those headlight buckets in. They are clear, powder coated and clear after they were stripped, just to keep that original look. According to the legend that I have from B-Bodies only, is this was supposed to be gloss black. Now I've seen a lot of conflicting information as well. Some people think this is semi-gloss, so I don't know. It is what it is. It's gloss black. I like gloss. Who doesn't like gloss? I like it, and I guess that's all that matters. So, but yeah, having this off the car, or I'm sorry, off the bench, is nice. Gained a lot of room. Work in a small shop. So I had to order these headlights. What, crazy, huh? I had to order these guys, and my low beams are there at the auto parts store. But yeah, I remember when this was always all they had at the auto parts stores, and you know, I'm dating myself, but it is what it is. I know I'd say that a lot too, so whatever. But yeah, things are looking good. We're super happy with the progress. Of course, we wish there was more, but parts availability and all that stuff, you know, guys who build cars out there, they know what I'm talking about. But yeah, we're super happy. On to the next thing. We got these the plastic grill shells painted up, which I want to show you. And I'm not sure if these things go on, you know, as a whole entire assembly, but so we got these guys from Classic Industries. Quality's pretty good. You know, they're not perfect, but they are pretty good. I probably have 6 coats of paint on these just to get them right, and for some reason it wrinkled up on us the first couple times, so I wet sanded it and then hit it with a couple more coats, and then the next day I'd come back and wet sand it, and now we've got a pretty cool finish. And what's strange is that these guys, these things are super expensive, but these two didn't come painted silver. But the center grill section did come painted silver, so I was kind of worried that the paint wouldn't match. So like this, for some reason, comes painted in the middle, and those outer shell pieces don't. So I don't know why. It must be, I don't know. It must be made in a different area or a different place. Who knows? But yeah, all this stuff, if you can save this stuff on your car, on your Charger, please do. But ours they had broken tabs and we just couldn't reuse them. And I always, you know, err on the side of OEM if I can, but there just wasn't much usable from the old grill. You can see the, let's see, these are the old headlight buckets. And, you know, stuff like that. It's just broken off. Nothing you can do. So, and luckily the headlight doors, you just pop, they're like these little flat like stop washers, I call them. They just pop right off, and the new ones have this provision right on them. So, but yeah, these have seen better days. But yeah, Anyway, that's the update for today. On to the next thing. What's up, guys? So I apologize for not getting a video out last week. We really try hard to at least pump out a video once a week, but again, you know how I am. I don't want to put out just nothing videos. I want to keep you guys engaged and truly tell the story of the car we're building. That's the whole point of our channel, is showing you what we do, teaching you if you don't know, or maybe even sharing some tricks and tips. But anyway, so here's what I've been doing. I have not been sitting around eating bonbons, I assure you. But check this out. So as you know, we have 3 disciplines here at McDaniel Motorsports. Cars, classic cars, cars of all kinds. Mostly the big 3 is our primary interest, but every so often we have to dive into our other 2 disciplines. And the good friend of mine that painted my car, I really wanted to find a way to pay him back, because I didn't pay him to do it. He offered to do it, and I know how much work it was. It's a Charger. They are huge cars when it comes to body work and just physical size. They're huge. In fact, fun fact, Daytonas don't even fit in a regular garage, so that should tell you something. It's a big car, especially because of the front nose clip on the Daytonas are like, I don't know, some of you may know, but at least 2.5 feet additional length, and obviously the wings in the back. So anyway, enough of that. So I came to the realization that my friend who painted the car, Rod, his son has a Razor, and the engine recently popped. And by popped, I mean it ingested dirt into the intake. Somebody's friend built the air intake system in the garage, and it didn't work. So it put the K&N fit. In fact, I'll show it to you. This is a good example of what not to do. So this is the culprit. So K&N, bad idea for dirt. I don't recommend these for dirt, even with the pre-filter. K&Ns flow because they let particulates by. That's my opinion, but it's in fact backed up by scientific evidence. However, this little box, or we'll call it a plenum, this mounted right on the throttle bodies, and as you can see, the dirt, all that went into the throttle bodies, into the valves, mixed with the fuel, and the rest is history. So needed a whole new top end, full rebuild. The bottom end was okay. The lower, the crank bearings did have some scoring in them. In fact, I can show you those here. And find a decent one, or find a bad one. Yeah, you can see here. Hopefully the camera's focusing enough on that, but you can see some trash went through these. They weren't horrible, but while we're in there, we replaced them. The engine was already a big bore stroker engine, so it's making about the equivalent of what a standard turbo Razor would make these days, about 185 horsepower. But these little 900 engines, they're a wet or a dry sump, so they're kind of ahead of their time. But the engine was placed in a, I guess you could call it an archaic chassis to today's standards. So what this is, it's a 2011 Razor XP900 made by Polaris. These are actually really good cars in their time. They made great suspension travel and a lot of good power, even in stock trim. But I have been putting this thing back together I yanked the engine out about 3 months ago, took it to my engine builder, who is the Pro Shop up in, let's see here, I guess they're in Corona, Ontario area, down here in California. They are the best in the business. I wouldn't take my engine anywhere else because a lot of the dealers out there are just idiots and screw up more stuff than they fix. So, but I'm the guy that basically took it out, put it in my truck, brought it over there, had them take care of it. John and his son Joe over at the Pro Shop are super stellar dudes. I wouldn't trust anybody else with my stuff. In fact, if I ever pop my engine, I would do the same thing for myself. So anyway, so this is what I've been doing for the last 2 weeks, and I have jumped on the charger here and there, but nothing real serious, nothing compelling. But as you can see, I have remedied the air intake system with nothing but the best from UMP. Still missing the duct from here to there. I have to finish that. I just put the cage back on today after I fired it up for the first time. I will insert the video. Sounds pretty good. Doesn't sound like your typical 900 engine, does it? This thing is loaded up with gadgets and gizmos, GPS, seat warmers, overhead lights, you name it. My buddy Rod loves his trinkets. So after I'm kind of jumping around here, but after I verified it had oil pressure, filled up the coolant, burped the coolant, there's a little screw back here that you can actually, as you're filling the coolant, you can hear the air coming out of the head. It's actually behind this little panel here. Popped a new battery in it, some new oil, and everything else is good. But we fired it today and it's good to go. So basically I have the next few days to get this thing back together and get it back to its rightful owner, who's going to be in town tomorrow. So I really want to push and get this thing done, but not push so hard that I make a mistake. So that's my biggest downfall. Even when I was a professional mechanic, I was always the slowest guy in the shop. Not mentally, I know what you're thinking, but I really always cared about the stuff that I put together, and I wanted it to be right, and I didn't want to have a comeback, because a comeback to me as a mechanic is not a good thing. So you know, lug nuts falling off, killing people, that sort of thing. That stuff just freaked me out, and I never ever did have. I've had a comeback, I'm not gonna lie to you, but I never did cause anybody any harm by not tightening something or not, you know, doing something too quick. So anyway, so I am committed to this. I'm committed to the channel as well. I actually really enjoy doing these videos. I enjoy building cars. It's my life, basically. In fact, it has to be your life, otherwise you're kidding yourself. You'll never get it done if it's not your life. Or I guess you could call it a obsession, because that's what it has to be. Otherwise you just lose your focus. So as for the charger, we just put in all of the emergency brake cables. We came to the pedal, and I thought for some reason I missed on the pedal this jog. Let me show you this thing. Where is that? Oh, you know, I think it's over here on the bench. This place is a mess. I, in my infinite wisdom, missed the fact that this is super bent and whacked out, and it's already been restored and it looks beautiful. But yay, I get to do it again. And this guy right here, this spring is missing a washer that holds it behind this bracket. I don't know how I missed that stuff. I guess you know, it really all just comes down to not being familiar with Mopars as much as I should be. But I guess this is how you become familiar. You just make mistakes and you move on. So this is my first Mopar build. No qualms about it. But it won't be my last. So learning, just right alongside with you guys, I'm learning, making mistakes. I'll show you another mistake. So Classic Industries, the only people that I know that make parts like this. So here's my new grill shell, or the center part. This comes painted. So when I say painted, they put the silver on there. And in a previous clip, I showed you guys that these guys did not come painted. So I painted them. I found some plastic paint and I shot them. Well, lo and behold, they started to wrinkle. The paint was wrinkling. And I'm like, what is going on? I cleaned them. I did everything you're supposed to do. And the wrinkling started to kind of fade. But then I ran out of that paint. I'm like, oh, what am I going to do? Then I realized once I bolted this one, here's my finger, this one and this one to that one, the paint didn't match. Right? It was just, yeah. And let me tell you, these are a pain in the ass to mask. There's so many intricacies of the inner trim and the outer and the black. And anyway, I don't want to ramble too long, but the paint didn't match. I wasn't happy with it. So I bolted them together, remasked it all, cleaned it again because I was afraid of the wrinkling coming back, and used a different product. That product didn't dry. I had it out in the sun the day I painted it, brought it in at night. It's super humid here. It's probably like 85% humidity, and that should have been something I should have considered. But in my dumbassness, I went ahead and, I gotta get it all one color. Well, that was a mistake, and that was clearly the wrong paint as well. So back to square one. So I call my buddy Rod, was in the paint business for 44 years. He's the guy that painted my car. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong with this plastic paint? I've always told people you can't paint plastic. Just don't do it. It's terrible. In the realm of ATV fenders or dirt bike fenders or side-by-side hoods, they're all plastic, and I've never seen a paint job that looked good for very long. So that's why I like chrome bumpers on my trucks, like that. That ends up looking good for a very, very long time, and that's kind of why I'm a chrome guy. I was also born in ¡74, and my friends make fun of me because they like the color match stuff, but I'm a chrome guy because I like how it ages. It ages well. You do get some pitting, but anyway, enough of that. So those are the two latest sagas, if you will. Let's see here. Gas pedal gasket, nope, wasn't the right one. In fact, that's the master cylinder gasket right there, which I do not have. Yay! So yeah, so I come out here at night. My wife works long hours, so I've got plenty of freedom to do this stuff after hours, after I've done a full day of it, and then I come out and do my stuff at night and try to make headway, and I try to film as much as I can for you guys, because I know I'm telling a story here and I want you guys to be able to follow it. So the last I showed you guys on the accessory drive, and this may also come as a shock that I'm not super up on how these accessory drives go together, but I had Mancini send me a power steering pump. Let's get the light on here. Sorry, this is just going to be a lot of talking in this video. Hopefully you guys are okay with it. So I've got the power steering pump, Saginaw box. I know it's not OEM, but performance-wise, this is the jam. It's a newer water pump, I've come to find out. This is the newer style. They make an older style, which I believe was 62 to 70, and then 71 to 79 or whatever. I'm sure someone will correct me in the comments, which is fine because then I'll learn. About the Mancini alternator bracket and alternator. Pull this out of the box. It says manufactured and the D word, Delco, on it. I'm cool with Delco, but not on my Mopar. I'm like, come on, man. I thought I'd buy a decent new alternator from Mancini, but apparently I was wrong. So it's just a 65 watt or 65 amp alternator. It's not going to set the world on fire, but I just needed an alternator at a reasonable price. I think it was $100. So probably going to have to change that at some point because it's a rebuild. Don't buy a rebuilt alternator or starter. Just trust me. Spend a little extra money and get a new one. Take it from me. I'm 49 years old. I've been down this road a few times. Don't cheap out. And then I realized, look at the run out in this power steering. I don't know if you guys can see that with my finger, but get a better angle here. What's going on here? Okay, try to watch the run out. This thing wobbles so bad. Hopefully you can see that. I don't know if it has run out or if it's lopsided. It's absolutely, hold on, dog's barking. Sorry. Dogs love to bark at other dogs. Yeah, so I'm not super happy about that. I don't know that I'll exchange it until I run a belt on it. If it jumps belts, obviously I'm not going to use it. So, and the other part was, so I've come to realize why my alternator brackets don't work, or that were so off. Remember I was showing you guys in a previous clip how far back the alternator was this way? Well, look at my heads. So the heads are obviously aftermarket heads. They're big Victor heads and they're huge. But if you look closely, the driver's side is way out and the passenger side is way in. Why? I don't know. It's beyond me. But it requires a 7.5 inch bolt with, I'm gonna have to put a spacer here, which I'm cool with, and obviously the spacer will stay the same. So I have to shim the whole thing out, and when you shim something like this far out, it becomes more flimsy and it's harder to get a belt to bite onto. So I'm not looking forward to that. And to complicate things even more, I ordered my vintage air system for this car. And I don't know about you, but I'm too old to sweat driving my hot rod. So, and I'm not going to sweat all the time, but it puts the stand-in air conditioning compressor at the top, like first thing you see when you open the hood, which I'm not totally stoked about. But the brackets put it where it goes, and it is what it is. So I'm stuck with it for now. I did in fact see Chris Birdsong had a hack. He didn't tell us how he did it, but if you check out one of his more recent videos on patina, he actually was able to put the stand-in compressor down here, and I'm hoping he starts selling the brackets because I will buy them. He fabricated them from scratch, which is very impressive. But yeah, that's where I want it eventually, but I'm just gonna get it running for now, and go from there. But yeah, it's just this car building stuff, man. It's one thing after another. And my son worked 4 hours today on the stupid emergency brake cable that, because we put subframe connectors in, we had to drill holes and align the cable, and then the cable wouldn't go through the holes. And I know this is a story that some of you have heard before, but we're new Dodge guys. We're not super familiar with these cars. I'm not going to pretend that I am. I'm not. So I'm learning along with you guys. I'm just trying to make a nice car, a nice driver / race car, beater, like, do donuts and burnouts and stuff in this thing. It's a Charger. That's what it's for. They're not for jumping. I can tell you that. If anybody's even seen any of the structure of these cars, It's 4 pieces of sheet metal welded into a square. That is a frame rail. So good on Dodge. They're probably, you know, they didn't want to do the frame rail thing. I get it, but I feel like I'm going off after one tangent after another here. So oh, I did polish my taillights. They came out spectacular. And you guys are probably like, oh cool, let's see taillights. Well, I am telling a story here, so it wouldn't make sense if I didn't tell the story. So these guys came out really good. God, I can't see which this thing is down, but yeah, these are the OGs, original to the car. I think they have the Chrysler emblem on them, the little Pentastar. So bummer is some of these little clips. Yeah, that one right there is broken. That one's gone. That one's broken. That one's broken. So the chrome accents that go around those are they're in okay shape, but they are not usable on my car for now. They've got some rust issues and bubbling and some missing posts. This one's actually good. Well, it's not missing any posts, but the rust is flaking, so I gotta have these chromed. And let's see what this one looks like. Yeah, these things are actually, all the posts are here on these pieces of trim. It's the plastic pieces that are missing that they snap into. So anyway, long rant. Sorry guys, I just wanted to check in with you and let you know I'm still here grinding away for me and you. And let me know what you think about my rant. Hit me hard. I don't care. That's fine. I'm just I'm trying to understand where everyone's at with this. So, and you don't have to like or subscribe or any of that stuff. Just watch the videos. That's cool. And tell us what you want to see. That's really interesting. I always like to hear people's perspectives on this stuff. So, all right, I'll stop. All right, take care. I promise I'll see you next week.